Sorry, I'm late. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashyakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangai Stushtovagum Sastanubhihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vidhashravaha Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti nastarksho Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brihaspatir Dadhatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om, salutations to all. So, we saw the question, the sixth question asked by Sukesha. After having given the whole background of that question to Rishi Pippalaada, he asks about the Shodasha Kala Purusha. Now, the question is actually about the universal consciousness or the source of this creation. What is Shodasha Kala? The entire universe is made up of 16 aspects. That will come further, so that list we will see at that time. He didn't ask about the universe. So Shodasha Kala, yes, sa prapanchaha. So Shodasha Kala means the universe, the entire creation. The Purusha of that creation, the source of that creation is what he is asked about. So Shodasha Kala Purusha is an inquiry into what is the cause of this whole creation and where it is. So like we know that every Upanishad will have a Mahavakya which will show the identity of Brahman and Atman. The sixth question here will reveal that. So Shodasha Kala Purusha, where it is the question. Meaning what it is implied in that. Now we saw the commentary of the first mantra, and second mantra we just saw the reply. What did Pippalaada Rishi say? Tasmai sahovacha iha eva anta sharire somya sapurushaha yasmin etaha shodasha kalaha prabhavanti iti. So it is that Shodasha Kala Purusha is right here in this body. And from whom these Shodasha Kalas, they rise. Meaning that source, that Purusha is the cause of this entire universe, in whom it sustains, into whom it goes back. That Purusha is right in our heart, in this body. Right now, you just said, right, it is in this body. So this inquiry is about the cause of the whole universe, what we call as Karana Brahma. This universe is called Karya Brahma. So the whole Vishwarupa that we see, from where does it come? So that source is what he is asking. And then that source is in this very body, like how it is said in the Taittiriya Upanishad, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyoman. In the space of one's own heart, Saha Ashnute Kaman Sarvan. Saha, at the same time, meaning all the desires when they are fulfilled, at the same time, what happiness one experiences, like that is the happiness of this person. If one desire is fulfilled, we feel so thrilled. All desires fulfilled right at the same time, one and the same time, meaning that state of fulfillment, nothing more one wants. Having attained which, nothing more one wants. Where is that? Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyoman, in the space in one's own heart, meaning as the self. So that he will reveal anyway further, but actually the answer is complete in this itself. Where is that Shodasha Kala Purusha? Is in your heart. What is that Shodasha Kala Purusha? Is the cause of the universe from which all the Shodasha Kalas arise. And by implication, arise means they also stay and they go back, because they can't arise in one and merge in something else. The universe itself is infinite. So it has a source which is infinite. So one infinite appears as creation, and that appearance remains supported by this infinite cause. It again merges back as though into the same infinite cause. So now this is the answer that is given. Now let us see the commentary portion. Tasmai Saho Vacha. To him, the Rishi explained or spoke. Iha eva anta sharire. Here itself. Iha means here. Eva itself. Anta sharire. Inside this body. So now Sharira means what? One can think physical body. So Shankaracharya explains, Hridaya Pundarika Akasha Madhye. In the space in the heart. This is the Upanishadic way of explaining. Physically, obviously, there's space in the heart, there's a problem and one has to fix that. The surgery or whatever has to be done for it. This is not talking about that space. Heart here is the spiritual heart, not the physical heart, where we feel the sense of aham, aham, aham continuously. When we say I, we touch this, we touch our heart, we don't say I. So that where and space, why is space being utilized? Why is the space the metaphor given here? Can't see, hear, taste, smell, touch. Space is imperceptible. It's not a physical, it's not a tangible entity. Same way, this self is infinite. It's not tangible like an object. Cannot be objectified for the senses or for the mind or for the intellect, but that which enlivens all these, that. So, Hridaya Pundarika Akasha Madhye, Iha eva anta sharire means that. Because he asked, where is it? See, the order in which the teacher answer also is very systematic in that sense. The student asked, where is it? That was the question. Kva asau vartate. Where is this? So it is in the heart. But what is it? Then the student, then the teacher explains that, so that the student doesn't misunderstand, because Hritpundarika Madhye, one will think it is some small thing inside the heart somewhere. There is no. It is that cause of the whole universe, from where this whole universe comes. So that is the answer that the teacher has given. Hritpundarika Akasha Madhye, He Somya Sa Purushaha Na Deshantare Vignayaha. Meaning it is not to be realized somewhere else, meaning don't objectify it. So when people ask, where is God? Show me God. That's question only is stupid. How can you show God? God is not an object. You can only realize God as your own self. So that's why it says na deshantare. It's not somewhere else. Every other object is other than I, the subject. So one can say, go here, see there, do this, do that, become this. It can be objectified. But this cannot be objectified. So he clarifies, saying, na deshantare vigneyaha. Na vigneyaha. Yasmin etaha uchyamanaha shodashakalaha pranadyaha prabhavanti utpadyante iti shodashakalaabhi upadhibhutabhi sakala iva nishkalah purusha lakshyate. Now, so this much is where it is to be, where is that Shodasha Kala Purusha? In your own heart, not somewhere out. That tendency we always have, because that's how we have learnt every other thing, because it's something other than I. So always the mind has objectified it as something other than itself. So all the subjects we have learned, maths, chemistry, physics, biology, or whatever, art, dance, science, literature, music, everything is other than I. And so we objectify it, and the mind retains its sense of jiva bhav, its finitude, and then it learns, it does, it achieves, it celebrates. All that mind will do. But this is not like that. It is not somewhere else. No, but Swamiji, you said Shodasha Kala Purusha means Purusha is that which is appearing as all this. Then why it is not there? Purusha is appearing as all this, but realization of Purusha will not happen anywhere else except here. As the true self in the heart. Manasa eva idam aptavyam. Because that makes us confused. Sometimes the scripture says you cannot attain it by the mind. Sometimes it says mind alone is the way to attain it. So there is no contradiction. It cannot be attained by the mind with the usual method of objectification. It cannot become an object of the mind. But it can be attained only by the mind which is purified and which dissolves itself. The ego dissolves to realize that, oh, this ego is a phantom, it is a fictitious entity, it is not real. Where will that realization happen? Here in the heart. The purified heart is called mind. Integrated intellect and mind is called heart, and that is purified. If it is not purified, it won't be integrated. So, where it is, he answers. Though it is all pervasive, it is the source of the entire universe. It is in our heart. Each one will experience it here and now. Now, what is that Purusha? So he says that Yasmin etaha, from whom all these, what will be said now, those 16 kalas, Uchyamanaha, Shodasha Kalaha, Pranadyaha. So he just indicates prana, etc. The list he will give later on. All those 16 kalas, prabhavanti utpadyante iti shodasha kalabhi. From this, they all will rise. They all rise. Shodasha kalabhi, upadhi bhutabhi. The 16 aspects, facets, sakala eva nishkalaha. Having both, the meaning what can be seen, what is gross, tangible, and also the intangible, the subtle, sakala and nishkala. With parts is gross, tangible, and without parts, kala is parts, nishkala is no parts. So there are lots of things which are physical, so there are parts to it. There are subtler things, love, happiness, emotions, so anger. There are no parts in that. It is, meaning it is subtler. So though it is the source of sakala and nishkala, it is by itself akala. Akala means without any parts. See that, sakala iva nishkala purusha lakshyate. These 16 kalas are what we can say, like a superimposition. They are not really there. Like the snake can have parts. So the snake has a hood and a tail and some, venom is there and this tongue is there and eyes are there, all that. Let us say. So this snake has different parts. But actually the rope has no parts, no aspect of snake in it. The snake is only an appearance of that rope. Same way, this 16 kalas will have both gross and subtle. You will see the list, Shraddha and all that will also come. So gross and subtle will be there. Those parts are not really there in Purusha. They are only superimpositions or they are only appearances on this Purusha. Because highest level is Purusha alone is, there is only one Brahman. There is no Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. But if I am seeing Jagat and now I want to know the source of the Jagat, then the source of Jagat has to be that Purusha only. It cannot be anything else. So that Purusha using the power of Maya becomes Ishvara, then becomes Hiranyagarbha, then becomes the Virat, and all these creation theories, etc. are there. But all these are only appearances, not real. Why is he clarifying that? Because one will think that there is some Purusha like that who has 16 parts. Again, that becomes finite. So he says, Sakala iva nishkalaha Purushaha lakshyate is indicated. The 16 kalas or this entire universe, this creation is to indicate to us that which is beyond creation, is that Brahman, that Purusha. And where it is, it was said earlier, in our own heart. So, lakshyate avidyaya iti tad upadhi kala adhyaropa apanayena. This is the method in Vedanta of adhyaropa and apanayana. Meaning superimposition and desuperimposition. Achha, superimposition, desuperimposition means like the whole methodology that we follow in Vedanta is what? So many methods which we have. Panchakosha Vivek. So the entire personality is divided into 5 koshas. Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. Or Avasthatraya Vivek. So waking, dream, deep sleep, and how you are not the waking, dream, deep sleep ego, you are that consciousness. So one is superimposition. Deliberate superimposition is called adhyaropa. And when deliberate superimposition is done, the objective of the deliberate superimposition is to integrate that personality and help the personality to detach. Otherwise, we are aware of only one aspect. And we are not able to comprehend the infinite with that one aspect or few aspects that we are aware of. Like we don't know so many things about our 5 koshas. Who knows? Before I came to Vedanta, I had no idea Anandamaya kosha exists. Even Vijnanamaya kosha, Manomaya kosha, there is a difference between these two, no idea. Pranamaya kosha, so one thinks prana is breathing, but pranamaya is much more than prana is much more than breath. Annamaya, so one knows that much, okay, food we eat may become this body. Hardly we know something and we think I am this. So that is our delusion, adhyasa. Then adhyaropa is done, saying you are all these 5 koshas you are, and if you align these 5 koshas, your inner strength will manifest, and this alignment is called yoga. And these are techniques to do that. So at each kosha, how do you integrate how do you strengthen every kosha and bring all these 5 into alignment? So body and breath and emotions and thoughts and ideals and values, align all these. Then the special glow, spiritual glow is there, strength of the personality is there. Now what to do? So this entire thing is deliberate superimposition. Now what to do? Desuperimposition, saying you are not this Annamaya. Why you are not Annamaya? Because it's only byproduct of food. You are not pranamaya. Prana is jada vastu. It will come out and go in the body, and it will take what we have seen earlier. It will take away the subtle body from one gross body at the time of death. It will again enter into another gross body, and it will maintain it. As far as karma is there, it will be there. Again, when karma is over, it will go out. Jada vastu, you are not this. So same way it will negate. So all the 5 koshas will get negated. And somebody says, Swamiji, why all this is required? Adhyaropa and apanayana, why? Just tell directly yourself, no? Why adhyaropa is to be done? If anyway you are negating, why adhyaropa is done? Why deliberate superimposition and then tell this person you are not all this, and then you negate? And then you say you are Brahman. Directly tell you are Brahman. Full stop. That is the problem. Directly it is said we are Brahman hundreds of times. Still we don't understand. Because the identification with this is very strong. And to detach from this, it has to get aligned. Then only detachment is possible. Otherwise, we will leave one, get attached to the other. So we will detach from the body, but we'll get attached to breathing or prana. Or we will get attached to some entity that I am a jiva. So in the same realm of the finitude, we will just get attached to different things. That's all. The entire realm has to be negated. One can't say that I am attached to, this one entity of the dream character. So one entity of the dream, Mr. So-and-so, I am not that, but something else I am. So I will only shift the attachment from one to the other. The entire dream has to be rejected to wake up to realize I am the waker. Limitation of example is there, but that's what I'm just trying to say. The whole entire appearance has to be negated, and to negate it, integration of that personality is important. Otherwise, it will not happen. So that's why Gurudev used to give that example of the pole vaulter. If the pole anyway has to be rejected finally, and one has to leave it, why take the pole at all? But that pole only helps me to go up. Once I go up, then I will leave. Same way, once I go through this deliberate superimposition, then the negation will happen. That is called adhyaropa and apavada. So when apavada is done, then nothing remains in the sense of the entire appearance is finished. Only substratum will remain. That is the truth. So that is the methodology. So this Purusha by itself is a kala. It has no kalas. Then why Shodasha Kala is superimposed on it? Because we are seeing creation. Then the cause of creation has to be that ultimate source only. It cannot be something else. Why? Because the entire creation we are seeing sentiency, and the only one sentient cause is Purusha. Rest is all Prakriti, is Jada Vastu. Karya Brahma, if we see that Karya Brahma is an appearance of Karana Brahma only. All the ornaments are nothing but gold in another form. Gold by itself has no ornaments in it. But without gold, ornaments cannot be made. So in that same way, the universe is Shodasha Kala, but the source of universe is that Purusha. But by itself, that Purusha has no kalas. It is akala. We have to use our akkal to understand that akala. We should not misunderstand it to be sakala. It is sakala only from relative standpoint. Sakala meaning sakala. It is sakala only from relative standpoint. If I see creation, then it is 16 parts. And from where the 16 parts came? That Purusha. What is that Purusha? Shodasha Kala Purusha. With relation to Shodasha Kala, it is called Shodasha Kala Purusha. Without Shodasha Kala, it is Akala Purusha. No kalas at all, no aspects, no parts, no changes, no gross, no subtle, nothing. So that is what he's saying here. Adhyaropa Upadhi, Adhyaropa, Apanayana. And why this it has to be done? Because by ignorance, avidyaya, because of ignorance, we have misunderstood ourselves and we have misunderstood the creation. Now that avidya, if it has to be removed, this is the process. Tad upadhi kala adhyaropa apanayanena adhyaropa apanayena vidyaya sa purushah kevalo darshayitavyah. That by this knowledge, this avidya will go by vidya. By this correct understanding, one will of this entire thing, what I just said, adhyaropa and apavada or apanayana, deliberate superimposition and then negation. In that process, the knowledge will arise. Vidyaya sa purushah kevalo darshayitavyah. To make a person realize that Purusha alone, meaning free from all kalas, that is the objective of this Shodasha Kala. What one should not forget is that we get very fascinated by 16 kalas, and everybody is eagerly waiting. What are these 16 something? Our attachment is to that 16, and then we want to verify whether it covers all the entire creation or not. If it does not cover entire creation, that means the list is incomplete. Now we are more fascinated by those things. The Vedantic student is not fascinated by it because that's what Vairagya is. From this body to Brahmaloka, this entire creation, and what we saw in earlier chapters about Krama Mukti and everything. So that person has got enough Vairagya, is not fascinated by Shodasha Kala, wants to know what is the Shodasha Kala Purusha, and how that Purusha is actually beyond all these kalas, is akala, is beyond all modifications, changes, aspects, everything. So to point out that is the purpose. Kevalo, Purusha Kevalo, Darshayitavyah iti kalanam tat prabhavatvam uchyate. And that is why the definition of the Purusha given here is that it is the source and all these kalas arise from this. Otherwise, actually no kalas arise from it. There is no snake arising from the rope. But to make a person realize the rope which is beyond snake, beyond all the parts of the snake, it is said, okay, if you are seeing the snake, there is a rope which is the cause of that snake. Rope is that in which the snake is born, in which it stays, into which it goes back. Till now I was fascinated by that snake. Now it will be said, there is a rope which is the source of this snake. So the attention will shift to that. Then the snake will get negated. Oh, how do you do adhyaropa in this? So adhyaropa is done in this by saying that there is no snake there, because the snake bite has created all fear, anxiety, I'm going to die and all that. So it is said there is no snake, it is just a garland. It's only a garland. See carefully, it's only a garland. I am not going to die. It's only a garland. So that mind will become quiet. Once that mind has become little quiet, it is said, now see more clearly. There is neither snake there nor garland. It is just a rope. One takes that rope and shows also. Now touch it. Then one touches. So that apavada happened, of snake also happened, of rope also happened. I mean, of that, what is that? Garland also happened. Rope is there. No snake, no garland. Again, I'm saying limitation of example will be there. Don't start comparing this garland to Panchakosha and Vivek and all that stuff. Methodology, I explained to you what happens in all the books you see in Vedanta till now, it will be that. In Vivek Chudamani, full Panchakosha Vivek is there, then the entire negation of Panchakosha will be there. Taittiriya also, that same thing you will find. Panchakosha will be there. In the Mandukya Upanishad, it will be Avasthatraya Vivek. Waker, dreamer, deep sleeper. Then negate all this to come to Purusha. Even here you saw earlier dreamer, and then the deep sleeper, all those questions were there. So this is the methodology in Vedanta. Adhyaropa and Apavada, deliberate superimposition and negation. One nice example for that is, again, limitation of example, don't forget, okay? Now, food we eat in a plate and we keep the plate. After some time, we have to wash. So we apply soap. Now, already food is there. On that, soap is also applied. And then with water, we wash. So food also gone, soap also gone. What remains? Only plate. Like that. Deliberate superimposition is done so that the basic false identification, that is adhyasa, we will come out of. And then when negation is done, apavada is done, that deliberate superimposition also gone, false identification or adhyasa also gone. What remains? Brahman alone remains. So that is the objective. And Shankaracharya is clarifying this here, that why did the teacher, why is the mantra saying this about Purusha, that from whom all the 16 kalas arise? That arising of the 16 kalas is not real, it is an appearance. And it is an explanation to understand that Purusha who does not have any kalas. So then there is no question of fighting. Purusha of Hindus has 16 kalas. Purusha of other people has only 5 kalas. Forget anything else. In our Hindu culture only, there are people who will say, only Krishna avatar is Purna avatar. Others are Apurna avatar. Confusion, no? Full galore. Confusion only. Krishna avatar is called Purna avatar. Others are Apurna avatar. Who is Apurna avatar? Of that Purna Brahma Paramatma. How can a Apurna avatar be Apurna? Some aspects Bhagavan may reveal. That doesn't mean Bhagavan is Apurna. Even in Krishna avatar, he reveals 16 kalas because he is born in the Chandra Vamsha. And in Ram avatar, he is born in Surya Vamsha. So he exhibits 12 kalas. What is so in that avatar, in the Vamsha where he is born, he is expressing all kalas connected to that. So there is nothing Apurna at all. Oh, what about other avatars, Matsya avatar, Kurma avatar, and so many other avatars are there of Bhagavan? There are not only 10, so many are there. Actually, countless they are. 10 we have, it has become popular, Dasha avatar. But if you see Bhagavatam and all that, so many avatars are given. 24 are given right in the beginning only. So the point to understand is, in every avatar, it is the Purna Parabrahma Parabrahma Tattva only which is appearing. So avatar is Purna only. No avatar is Apurna. Expression of that Purnatvam can happen in lesser or more measure. That doesn't mean that avatar is Apurna. So this kalas, we have to understand, ultimately Purusha has no kalas. Beyond all kala, beyond all change it is. Now, pranadinam atyanta nirvisheshe hi advaye shuddhe tattve na shakyo adhyaropam antarena pratipadya pratipadanadi vyavaharah kartum iti kalanam prabhavasthityapyaya aropyante avidya vishayaha. So now what is said here? Without adhyaropa of all this prana, etc., the 16 kalas which will come now, it is not possible to indicate that Supreme Purusha, because by itself it is a kala, no parts, no nameless, formless, attributeless. How to indicate that to a student? Some conditioning is required to indicate that which is beyond all conditioning. That's a limitation of the upadhi, the equipment that we have. The famous anecdote is there in Gurudev's life, that when Gurudev said, when Gurudev asked Tapan Maharaj that if the infinite is unconditioned, why so many conditionings or pointers are used to indicate that? Why can't it be just directly explained without any conditionings? So Tapan Maharaj didn't answer at that time. After a few days, Tapan Maharaj said, "Get me water." So Gurudev brought a glass of water. He said, "I told you to get water. Why did you bring glass?" He said, "But how can I bring water without glass?" He said, "You can't bring water without glass. Then how do you expect to, understand the infinite without any conditioning? Already we are in a conditioning that I am this body. From that to suddenly realize I am nobody, and I am everybody. How is that going to happen? Without this deliberate superimposition on the Supreme Purusha, it is not possible to understand the Purusha. So that's what this is said here. This last line, what we read, that's what it says. That all this prana, etc., are arising from it, is explained only for this adhyaropa, only for this understanding, where finally it will be negated. But without this, it cannot be explained. प्रतिपाद्य प्रतिपादनादि व्यवहारः कर्तुम् इति कलानां प्रभवस्थिति अप्यया आरोप्यन्ते. It is only deliberately superimposed. Avidya vishayaha. They are in the realm of ignorance, there is no doubt, but it has to be done. Finally, to negate. Chaitanya अव्यतिरेकेण एव हि कलाः जायमानाः तिष्ठन्त्यः प्रलीयमानाश्च सर्वदा लक्ष्यन्ते. Sorry. These kalas are not something separate from Purusha. They are an appearance of the Purusha. So that's why he says Chaitanya Chaitanya avyatirekena. Vyatireka is separate from. Avyatirekena is not separate from. So if we think that kalas are something else and Purusha is something else, there are two different things. And then these kalas are rising from this Purusha. That is a wrong understanding. That is what avidya is doing to us. We think creation is separate and God is separate and God is making this creation. So creation arises from God. So God is sitting and doing creation, being separate from it. Vedanta says, no. God is only appearing as the creation. We don't believe God created the world. We believe God appears as the universe. So our universe is an appearance, God is reality. Right now our understanding is ulta. God is one who has created the universe, and for me universe is real, and I can happily negate God also, saying there is no God. Why? Matter is everything. I don't believe in God. Prakriti, I believe in nature. And then I am very scientific, so I believe in atom, proton, neutron, electron, string, quark, all that. So in this, when we say God is separate from creation, I can reject that God. But when we say that the creation, God alone appears as the creation, appearance cannot be separate from substratum. If you remove the substratum, appearance is gone. One cannot negate God at all. One can negate an appearance and God will remain. But one cannot negate God and then continue with creation. See that beauty here. And that's what Advaita Vedanta is. God is, the whole creation is an appearance of the divine. If you negate the creation, you will come to that state which is beyond creator and creation. That's the purpose here. But if you negate the cause, then the creation is automatically gone. So one can never negate that cause, because effect will get negated. Because effect is only appearance of the cause. It's not produced by the cause. It's not modified to become the cause, become the effect. The effect is only an appearance of that. So the dreamer and the dream world is only an appearance of the waker's mind. If you negate waker's mind, the dream world gone, finished. But you can negate the dream world and the dream entity, and waker still remains. That's the purpose. See the difference in the approach. If I say God created the world, then I can reject God, and I can be happy with creation. Because God is only a producer. I got the product, producer not required. But if we say, no, God has not created the world, God is only appearing as this world, then the purpose of that is very clear. This appearance is unreal. What is appearing as this world, that is real. So understand that. So that's why he says here that the Supreme Purusha is only appearing as this creation. So without being separate from it, Chaitanya avyatirekena evahi kalaha. All these 16 aspects, they appear to rise. Jayamanaha tishtantyaha, they stay, and praliyamanascha, they go back into it. Sarvada lakshante, they are indicating that Purusha only. The rise and the stay and the fall of the snake is actually to indicate the rope. Same way the dreamer, the dream world rises, stays, goes back into waker's mind. It is to indicate the waker. And in that waker by itself, there is no dream, there is no dream world, there are no dream characters, nothing is there. It's waker's mind alone. So this is the objective. Because now this kalas, 16 kalas which are there, one will think that these kalas are real, and then they are coming out from this Purusha. And then one will want to understand in what order it comes out and what is the sequence, and all that has the fundamental assumption that they have come out of Purusha. But they are an appearance of Purusha. They are not produced by Purusha as some various things. The same Purusha is appearing as 16 aspects in this creation. So through any aspect we can realize the infinite consciousness. And that's why we worship everything in Sanatana Dharma. Trees, mountains, rivers, everything we worship, because any of these will lead us to the Supreme. By helping us drop our identification, connecting us to the divine, we will realize. Now, see, actually till this portion, the thought process is clear and the essence of this mantra has been communicated. Now this bhashya goes into certain technicalities of various schools of thought, and how this difference of their thinking is, that they say actually it exists and it's not an appearance. Vedanta says it's an appearance only, and it is to understand Purusha who is beyond all kalas. So this will go now into a certain technicality. Don't forget the main purpose. The main purpose is only to realize Purusha who is beyond all kalas, and to realize that Purusha where? In our own heart. Iha eva anta sharire hrit pundarika akasha madhye. There, we have to realize it there. All this discussion that is following now is, it may appear little technical, it has certain relevance for our deeper understanding and thinking, but the purpose, don't get overwhelmed by this now, because it will go into quite a bit of technicality. We will see whatever we can. If you get certain things, great. If you don't, that part you think about it later, reflect. At some point one will understand. Even for me it is like that. We keep on reflecting, the clarity will dawn. But the basic essence one has to get the hold of, and that basic essence is communicated till now. This one whole paragraph of the first paragraph of Shankaracharya's commentary communicates the basic essence. Now comes the technical discussion. See, ata evaha bhrantaha kechid. So he says, because of this, when mantra is saying that from the Purusha this kalas rise, some deluded people, kechid bhrantaha, agni samyogad ghritamiva घटाद्याकारेण चैतन्यम एव प्रतिक्षणम जायते नश्यति इति तन्निरोधे शून्यमिव सर्वम इति अपरे. So there are some people who are deluded and who think that when the ghee is put in the fire, then that fire will become more brighter. Agni sanyogad ghritam. In the same way, Chaitanya, when it comes in association with the form, so that Chaitanya is the cause for that form to rise. Like that ghee is the cause for the fire to rise. The more ghee, today we have Hanuman Havan. The more ghee you offer, the more that fire will burn bright. Lesser ghee you offer, then that fire becomes dull, and then that smoke will cover the, not smoke, that ash will cover the wood which is getting burnt. The ash of that wood will cover that fire, and then the smoke comes. Now, how to remove that smoke? Put more ghee, fire will burn brighter. So how this this ghee and fire, that connection is, in that way, consciousness only is appearing, not appearing, consciousness is only rising in connection with the forms like pot, etc. Ghatadi akarena chaitanyam eva pratikshanam jayate. Consciousness is born every minute and it dies every minute. Meaning the forms are really rising and falling in consciousness. They are not an appearance. That's the meaning here. So he said that some deluded people think like that consciousness is that from where these forms are rising and into which they are falling, and these are all real. So he says pratikshanam nashyati. And the next opinion is, if you negate all the forms, nothing remains. See, tan nirodhe shunyamiva sarvam iti apare. If you negate all forms, then consciousness is nothing. It is a zero. It is a shunya. It's a blank. Now, obviously, when we understand the appearance theory, this is not true. Consciousness is not being born and dying every minute with the rising of forms and falling of the forms. Consciousness is infinite, changeless, appear, and the forms appear. Nothing happens to consciousness. It is not born, it does not die, it does not change. And also, obviously, even if all forms are not there, like we said earlier, if you reject the world, God still is there as consciousness in the appearance theory, which is Vedanta. But if you reject God, creation is gone. But this is saying ulta. This nihilist or the shunyavadi is saying this, that if all forms are rejected, there is nothing called consciousness. Ultimate reality, transcending all forms, is a zero. So that's why he says, Shankaracharya says, they are deluded, they are bhranta. How can it be zero? It is not zero. Ghatadi vishayam chaitanyam chetayituhu nityasya atmano anityam jayate vinashyati iti apare. Now other group of people. So two types, two opinions already we saw. Now the third opinion, what is being said there? These are the Nayayikas. So what are they saying? Ghatadi vishayam chaitanyam chetayituhu nityasya atmano anityam jayate vinashyati iti apare. So just give me 1 minute. One word I need a little clarity on. So this Nayayikas, they say that this knowledge of the pot and other objects, it arises and gets destroyed as a temporary phenomenon on the eternal self, which imparts consciousness. Imparts consciousness. Not that consciousness is an appearance of it. Consciousness is imparted to these objects. That is the Nayayikas, what they say. The knowledge of the pot and the rest arises and gets destroyed as a temporary phenomenon. So when we see a pot, then the knowledge of the pot arises. Why it is called temporary phenomenon? Because if I see the, let us say, thermos, then knowledge of pot is gone, knowledge of thermos arises. So it's temporary. But how is that knowledge arising? So he says the knowledge of the pot and the rest arises and gets destroyed as a temporary phenomenon on the eternal self, which imparts consciousness. So this consciousness is imparted to the ghata, then the knowledge of ghata will arise. It does not happen like that. No, ghata is, the existence is there in that ghata, the Chaitanya Swarupa Atma is here, enlivening the mind, it pervades, and then the knowledge of the pot will arise. That is the theory of perception in Vedanta. Here it is little different. So these are different views that he has taken. Ultimate view, as I said earlier, is to make a person understand that this consciousness is this Supreme Purusha, does not have any modification, does not appear, does not do anything. And these 16 kalas are only superimposed on it. It is not giving anything to 16 kalas, nor 16 kalas are actually arising from that. It's just an appearance which is delusory. And that has to be transcended. So that is one opinion of the Nayayikas. 3 opinions we saw. Now the 4th opinion is of the materialist, Charuvakas. So Chaitanyam Bhuta Dharma iti Lokayatikaha. So what is the 4th opinion? Consciousness belongs to matter. Like what we have today. Consciousness is a product of matter. If you tickle a spot in the brain that is called God spot, you will experience consciousness. Or what they say, the most famous example of this materialists is that green pan, white tuna and brown supari. If you mix all this and you eat, you will get red color. Pan is green, supari is brown and tuna is white. But all these 3, if you mix and eat, what will you get? Red color. From where red color came? By combination of this. So by itself, the pot and this, creation and all these objects and this jiva, etc., by itself they may appear to be jadavastu, but in a certain combination, these 5 elements, etc., if 5 elements come in a certain combination, consciousness is produced. That is life. This is what scientists are trying to come to that delicate balance of somehow, then how we will create life. So for them, consciousness is a product of matter. We say here, no, this matter is an appearance of consciousness. Matter is not real. So 4 opinions are seen. Consciousness belongs to this matter. Now the 5th one is what Vedanta is saying. So after giving these 4, Shankaracharya reasserts what is the stand of Vedanta. So he says, Anapayo apajana dharmaka chaitanyam atma eva nama rupadi upadi dharmaihi pratyavabhasate satyam jnanam anantam brahma prajnanam brahma vijnanam anandam brahma vijnana ghana eva ityadi shrutibhyaha. So what is the stand of Vedanta? He quotes all these Upanishads saying that this consciousness does not know any increase or decrease. There is no change in consciousness, it is nirvikara. So, anapayo apajana dharmaka chaitanya. There is no increase or decrease. If objects come, consciousness increases. If objects decrease, consciousness decreases. There is no decrease in consciousness or increase in consciousness. Atma eva, this self alone, is appearing. Nama rupadi upadi dharmahi pratyavabhasate. Avabhasate appears. It just appears. It is not becoming, or it is not rising, falling with the objects, or lending its some power to that, so its own power becomes lesser. None of that is there. It's just an appearance. Now, what is the proof? Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. This Brahma is Satyam. Satyam itself means that which is not changing in 3 periods of time. Then Prajnanam Brahma. This entire universe is an appearance of consciousness. This is Mahavakya also, Prajnanam Brahma, Aitreya Upanishad. Then Vijnanam Anandam Brahma. And this Brahma is of the nature of pure consciousness and infinite bliss. Vijnana Ghana Eva. There is only pure consciousness. There is no matter. Matter is only an appearance. It is not real. It is not there. So this Purusha is like that. Now don't confuse that Purusha is really creating and Purusha is rising with 16 kalas or reducing with 16 kalas. Nothing like that is happening. Because this same mantra will be interpreted by all these others to give a different meaning. So he brings all those meanings and he says, no, it is not possible, because that which is infinite does not change, it does not modify. No vikara happens in that. It remains as it is. And still remaining unmodified, it is appearing. That is called Vivartavada. Without undergoing any change, it will still appear. That is called Vivarta. Like the waker is lying on the bed. The waker is not going through any change. Without undergoing any change, the waker is projecting the whole dream world and going through different dream experiences. So that entire dream world, the dreamer, the dream characters is an appearance of the waker without undergoing any modification. That is called Vivarta, just an appearance. The sand in the desert has not gone through any change. Without undergoing any change, it is appearing as the mirage, the water. So this is where we will stop for today. My suggestion to you is, for the next class, you please read the balance part of this commentary of the second mantra. Whatever you understand is all right. You may sometimes not understand or get confused also, doesn't matter. But read. Some samskar will go off this, of some thoughts, then it will become more clearer. So that this portion that comes next is little subtle, technical it is. So that we have to, if we read it, study it, think about it on our own, then again in the class we will reflect together, then slowly things will become more clearer. All right, for today we stop here. Happy Hanuman Jayanti to all of you. Are there any questions today? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.